Over the past 2 years, the two issues which the BJP has been using to corner the Congress with have been the issues of corruption and federalism. Prior to the initiation of the anti-corruption movement by Team Hazare, BJP was taking the issue of corruption in a very serious manner, but they were still not in a position to understand how lethal the issue had become. There were a number of corruption related issues which were making the headlines during those 2 days. The 2G scam had taken place, the CWG scam had taken place. With the appointment of a tainted person as the CVC, a huge controversy had been generated and the matter had gone to Supreme Court. So all these issues were there. But because the BJP did not realize that corruption could ever be such a big issue, it was going very slowly in that direction. Now, once the Anna movement started, particularly after the protests which took place in August, the Bharatiya Janata Party realized that it could tap in the cynicism and skepticism which the Team Anna movement had generated, and using that movement's energy or ambience as its foot plank, it could return to power in 2014. Now, corruption has never been the single biggest issue in any Indian general election except for one general election. That was when Bofor's tainted Rajiv Gandhi's government was sent packing by the Indian electorate, and he was replaced by his own confidant at one point in time, and the Congress party was, for the second time in democratic India's history, thrown away from the office of the central government. That is what had happened. VP Singh had become the Prime Minister after that. Now, this was the BJP's first issue on which it was cornering the Congress party time and again, inside and outside Parliament. The second issue which the BJP made use of effectively was that of federalism. The BJP tried to portray this government as a government which was trying to bully the states. And not only was it discriminating against non-Congress states, but it was also effectively subverting the federal structure of government which had been gifted to India by its founding fathers. So whenever it got an opportunity, be it in regards to the Lokpal bill or the National Counter-Terrorism Center or the Gujarat Lok Ayukt appointment Rao or the Karnataka Lok Ayukt appointment Rao, time and again the BJP brought up the issue of federalism and said that this party, this government, has become so insecure that now it is trying to ensure its stay in office by bullying the state governments and by ensuring that its agenda is implemented at the state level, no matter how unconstitutional it might be. And in order to implement that unconstitutional agenda, it was making use of malafide techniques. The issue of federalism was also coupled with the issue of institutional conflicts, because UPA 2's regime saw the government in confrontation with the CAG, Mr. Vinod Rai, government ministers like Mr. Kapil Sibal, and the man who's now the Minister of Information and Broadcasting, Mr. Manish Tiwari. All these people came out again and again in public and they gave statements to the media in which they challenged the findings of the Comptroller and Auditor General Vinod Rai. And there was very intense confrontation between ministers who were occupying cabinet posts and the CAG. On the other hand, the government also got embroiled into a bitter age row with the army chief, and the army chief, he went to Supreme Court, and we all know what happened after that. So what the BJP was trying to do was that it was trying to tell the people of India that it is not only a corrupt government, it is also a dictatorial government. And it was trying to fuse two extremely lethal issues together. Because after the enactment of emergency in 1975, the people of India stood to the entire world that they would never tolerate a government which would take away from them their fundamental rights. And this government was not only indulging in huge financial corruption, but it was also indulging in a very different kind of institutional denigration which was threatening the very fabric of democracy in India. Now, if the BJP would have continued with these two issues, I am pretty sure that their prospects in 2014 would have been better. But there has been a significant change in the BJP's strategy over the past 4 or 5 months. And the change in strategy has been principally because of Narendra Modi's victory in Gujarat. Now, Narendra Modi's victory in Gujarat was followed by BJP's electoral rout in Karnataka. BJP has also been ousted from power in states like Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. So the BJP somehow realized that it was not insulated from the issue of corruption. If the Congress party was indulging in financial corruption, so was the BJP. Graft was as ingrained into the BJP as the Congress. And hence the BJP top leadership decided that it could not combat the Congress party as vociferously as it could have, just because of the fact that its own ministers were to a great extent involved in corruption. Therefore, they dropped that issue. With the ascension of Narendra Modi as possibly the BJP's frontrunner for the post of Prime Ministership in 2014, the BJP think tank, it has now come up with a new strategy. Now this strategy, also like the previous strategy, it has basically two issues. The first issue is that of corruption. BJP knows that when it comes to combating the Congress party, BJP and Congress both occupy a similar stature. But when you bring in the Narendra Modi angle, then the BJP, it assumes a larger stature because of Narendra Modi's vast fan following. The BJP assumes that in case of a battle between the BJP and the Congress might win, or the BJP might win. But in case of a battle between between Narendra Modi and the Congress party, Narendra Modi would always win. And therefore, now what they are trying to do is that they are trying to bring this man, Narendra Modi, and they are trying to showcase his developmental record as something which is awe-inspiring and unbeatable. The people of India are being given the impression that this man has done wonders in Gujarat, and the kind of performance and the kind of achievements which he has managed to get in Gujarat, if given a chance, he will do much better for India as a whole. The BJP was refraining from talking of the development done by the central governments because till some time back the UPA's record was way better than the NDA's record. But over the past few months we have seen how drastically the growth rate of India has gone down. And in a recent press conference, Mr. Arun Jaitley stated that the NDA government, which was in power from 1998 to 2004, its performance as far as the economic growth rate of India was concerned, it was better because it was taking care of a lingering economy. A lingering economy was somehow given the boost which it required, and when the NDA left office, it left the people of India with a booming economy. And he further added that the UPA got a booming economy. So in the first few years, they took great advantage of the policies which had been formed during Vajpayee's era. But later on, when the financial crisis arrived, when the UPA was met by a stellar challenge, it failed on all accounts. So now development has become the big issue for the BJP. And the BJP is trying to tell the people of India that our record was better, and if you look at the man whom we are going to bring in, he's had a fantastic developmental record. Give him a chance, and we assure you that India will become a developed nation very soon. Now, with the arrival of Narendra Modi, the politics of, you can say, Hindutva or saffron politics is going to make a comeback. And it has certainly made a comeback. And I say this after assessing the recent moves of the Bharatiya Janata Party. The Bharatiya Janata Party has appointed Mr. Amit Shah, who is a Hindutva face and long-time confidant of Narendra Modi, as in charge of UP for the upcoming 2014 elections. In West Bengal, they have given the mantle of leadership to Varun Gandhi. Both these states are extremely crucial because the BJP has never been able to, carve for itself a space in West Bengal, which has always been, ruled by the leftist ideology. Even though today Mamata Banerjee is in power, but most of the steps which she is taking in Bengal, they are more of the left than of the right. And then you have Uttar Pradesh, which is obviously going to send as many as 80 MPs to parliament. So it is also a very significant state, and obviously the issue which brought the BJP to national prominence, the Ayodhya issue, it was, centered inside the state. So by bringing in such radical figures, the BJP is trying to give boost to Narendra Modi's personality. On one hand, this man is going to ensure development, and on the other hand, he is not going to indulge in any kind of minority appeasement and is going to ensure the supremacy of the Hindutva culture in India. By doing so, the BJP, it plans to tap in the urban votes by means of Narendra Modi's figure, as well as some backward constituencies where feelings of communalism are still high. So this is the BJP's strategy for the coming elections. By coming up with a program called Bharat Nirman, the BJP might have got another issue on the basis of which it can attack the Congress. Because in 2004, BJP gifted the Congress party the elections by coming up with the India Shining campaign. And somewhere down the line, the Congress might have, done deja vu by coming out with Bharat Nirman.